Hi, I'm Justyn Fulton.
I'm Ethereal Reyes, and welcome to the Culture Corner. Films can have a great impact on how we view our cultural identities, whether it be stereotypes or characters with dimension that make us feel recognized and seen. The Culture Corner dives deep into the representation of diverse groups in film.
A study by GLAAD found that of the 118 films released from major studios in 2019, 22 included characters that were lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and or queer. Out of the 22 LGBTQ inclusive films, only 9 included an LGBTQ character who had more than 10 minutes of screen time, while more than half of the characters received less than 3 minutes of the screen time.
In today's episode, we will find out more about how the LGBTQ+ community is depicted in film.
So my name is Darcy. My pronouns are he, him. I'm an apparel merchandising major.
So my name is Kunanan. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a second-year psychology major.
My name is Georgia Valdez. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I'm the managing editor at the Poly Post, and I study journalism and art history.
What is one film that you feel failed to depict the LGBTQ community accurately?
I think probably any the bigger films like Love, Simon. I feel like it's a really big one that I think was really hyped up. I think one major part in where they failed, if they wanted it to be such a really groundbreaking film, is having more actors and actresses that were in the LGBTQ community.
The first film that comes to mind was the first gay film I ever watched, and it was called GBF, which stands for Gay Best Friend. And I think it just depicts the LGBTQ+ community poorly, because it basically feeds to every stereotype given to gay men in particular. So when the movie expectation and the real life expectation meet and they don't, work with each other, it makes people think, well, which is right, which is wrong. And they're obviously gonna think the Hollywood version is correct because it's in Hollywood.
What is one film that made you feel proud to be a part of the LGBTQ+ community?
I feel like there hasn't really been one fully, because I think I'm Latino, and so I haven't seen a film that really represents Latinos who are LGBTQ+ in a really good way. I think one film was Moonlight, where I felt really dove deeper into this kind of understanding what it's like to be gay and in a Black community, and really looking at how that relationship goes about, how your upbringing can kind of interfere in wanting to be so comfortable with who you realize who you are.
Do you believe that the media perpetuates negative stereotypes of the LGBT community?
I think I can definitely see that it's trying not to. I've always been seeing people trying to push the boundary, trying to push the idea that there's so much more to what you've been seeing before. No one person is the same. So it's important to understand all of our stories and to understand that this is what makes me different from you, but this is what's going to make us a better community because of our differences.
Talk that talk, girl. I like that.
All right, Andrea. What is one film that you felt proud to be a part of the LGBTQ+ community? You was okay, look at us, we represented in this. You know what I mean? What's
And coincidentally, I just rewatched Love, Simon, and that movie does have its mixed reviews, but for me, I thought I liked it because there's this one other queer character who's not the main protagonist. But in the movie, he is tormented. People do bully him about him being gay. I was always shy about who I was. I always wanted to linger in the background. People knew who I was, but I didn't want them to dive into me any deeper. But with that character, he just really stood out to me because he didn't care. He knows people are going to disagree with him, and he's okay with that because people are always going to disagree.
So, Georgia, what is your relationship with queer media, and how do you interact with it and feel about it?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. I was introduced to queer media kind of late in the game or so. I knew I was queer before I really was exposed to queer media. And from my exposure's experience, I found myself more heartbroken than I would have liked. I'm a romantic at heart. And so when I see queer people die or have a storyline that is only centered around tragedy, it's really heartbreaking. And so I've strayed away from watching queer media.
Georgia, what has your experience on campus? What has been like your experience on campus being queer, and like, do you think like your experience alone has been influenced by media and like, of course, like film and media like that people take in on an everyday basis?
Right. I think people who are more educated and more accepting and more open-minded tend to be more, inviting to my identity. And so maybe the older generation who, let's say, has been exposed to less positive media doesn't really acknowledge my identity. My identity is one that is a little bit more of the gray area, so that's a little bit harder for people to grasp. And there's a lot less media in that on people like me, and so I would argue that if people who are kind of approaching me negatively are considered ignorant, then I would also argue that they're probably absorbing less positive media as well.
Why is it important for LGBTQ plus stories to be told by the media?
Well, I mean, solely just because the media already tells stories about straight couples, and so that isn't what the world looks like. The world isn't just filled with straight couples, and the media kind of hold this obligation to make sure that everyone understands what the world looks like. While the media has tried, I think they failed in the way with continuing this kind of like only having white actors or actresses and not having a diverse crew either on screen but also behind the scenes, like who's writing the film and who's directing.
So it's that fast access, it's that easy, fast access and attractive access, because media, there's so many different ways to portray it in pictures, in videos, in art, even in short story films. And that's when you get to dive in deeper and you get to understand different perspectives, different opinions, different point of views, different life stories, all in a matter of a day or so. So just the media really is our best friend, especially right now when you can't be with each other in their own space. The media is like the best thing and probably the only thing we're going to have to be able to portray the community.
So why do you think it's important for non-binary folk stories to be told by the media?
I think it's important to have those stories told because, for one, it validates our existence. By not having those stories told, it makes it harder to exist because people think that I'm lying or they think that I've made something up. And so media is the easiest form of education, I would argue. And so when there's more positive stories told, people don't have to do as much guesswork. They don't feel so confronted with something, in their minds that is new.
All right, y'all. What did y'all learn today? I know that I learned that not everyone from the LGBTQ plus community feel the same way about representation in media, about the same films. Not everyone, of course, no one is supposed to feel the same. But let us know what you think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and we out, bruh. Peace.